Hi, welcome. At the beginning of our story today, Irene appears to us as she is talking to her sister Laura's friend, whose name is Peter, and they are talking to each other about the disappearance of a plane belonging to a company, a private flight with flight number 281, and we know that Lori was on this flight, and Irene suspects that something unnatural and incomprehensible happened to this plane, but Peter supports the idea that his plane crashed and sank in the Pacific Ocean, and we flash back to the past and see Lori calling Irene at the airport because they are traveling together on Flight 281, but Irene does not answer her call. At the present time, there is a meeting between the CEO of the airline's board of directors and the families of the 14 victims who were on board the plane, and she tells them that the insurance company has offered a very large and good sum of money, all in exchange for their care. They close this case and consider that the plane crashed in the Pacific Ocean, but Irene tells them that my sister Lori is on this plane, and I still do not agree to accept the insurance company's offer. Without reaching the truth and knowing what happened to the plane, because I basically feel that they are still alive, but they all signed the agreement, accepting the huge financial offer from the insurance company. Even Peter agrees. He also prepared Irene, a man, and 6 others whose daughter, Amber, and her young child, Sunny, were on the plane. We return to a second flashback of the events with Lori boarding the plane, and Irene apparently missed the plane, and Lori decided that she would travel alone, and at the present time, Irene, she fights with Peter because he agrees to sign, and she also insults him and his new lover, Zoe, because he is not interested in Lori. And then, at night, Irene learns through her sister's email on the device that Laura's credit card was used a few days ago in a store in his country, Fiji, and when she says this to Peter, Lori is likely it is too late for Aisha to be alive. Neither he nor I believe her, so she began to take Irene a plane ticket and travel directly to the country of Fiji. She is not at all interested in what they say and whether they believe her or not. Irene turns on her mobile phone and sees pictures of her with her sister Lori. She also thinks about their beautiful and tender memories with each other and receives messages from an unknown person. He has new and very dangerous information about the disappearance of Flight 281, but unfortunately the Wi-Fi is broken on the plane and you cannot continue a conversation with this unknown person. When he returns to Flight 281, there are strange tremors like this on the plane, and Captain Mike tries to reassure them that these are just turbulence, and at this time, Irene arrives in his country. Fiji goes and stays at this local hotel, and the person who was sending her messages sent her a picture of Captain Mike, the commander of Flight 281, and he tells her that the secret is all with Mike. And on Flight 281 we see Lori taking tranquilizer pills and being afraid of the violent tremors and disturbances that occur on the plane. And returning, Lori remembers when she was at the hotel on a trip with her sister Irene, and she cried to Lori and told her that her friend Peter was having an affair with another woman, and she also learned that his mistress was still pregnant, and she found a pregnancy test by coincidence in Peter's car. Fire fought with her and told her that she should confront him and not remain so. Wait! In front of him, we return from a second to Lori, who is on the plane, and suddenly the plane lands with great force, and everyone remains in a state of terror and fear, and after a few seconds, the plane adjusts from a second and flies on its normal course, and Captain Mike apologizes to them, as every time, and reassures me. At this time, Irene arrives at my room in the hotel, and she is tired and exhausted. very much, but she does not relax at all, and she dresses like this and prepares. She also takes all the papers, pictures, and documents related to the trip, and she also takes her mobile phone and laptop and goes outside the hotel and pulls a motorcycle and bounces with it. When we return to the plane, we see that one of its engines has started to burn, and the plane is going down and falling with great force, falling into the Pacific Ocean. Lori sends a voice message to Peter and tells him that the plane is about to crash into the ocean. Kara asks him to keep Erin by his side and protect her. Erin delivers to the store where she received a message that Lori's credit card was used here 2 days ago, and she remains very happy when she sees that there are surveillance and recording cameras in it. The place, and when they compare the time in which Lori's credit card was used and that someone bought something with it from here, it appears to us that Captain Mike, the pilot who is supposed to be the captain of the flight, is the one who had Lori's credit card and also used it to buy things from the store here a few days ago. And the plane will be over. Lori and everyone with her have fallen into the woods on this island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and after some time has passed since the plane fell and crashed in the woods on this island, we see that Lori is moving and still alive, and gets out of the plane and is happy that she survived death and this tragic accident. She walks like this for a while until she reaches the beach, and Captain Taylor calls her and asks for her help. She falls in love, and the hostess girl named Kali is injured. Lori is checking on the rest, and we see that another woman named Amber is injured, and he also advises her about the whereabouts of her young son. Fortunately, she is not injured at all, and Kali is still alive. She tells Lori that she regrets it because she wasn't supposed to get involved in these matters, and after that she dies immediately. Without doing so, she explains what she meant to Lori and the island, so they don't know where they are at all, and the island they are currently on has no name on the map, so it is not known at all at this time. Irene arrives at the home of Captain Pilot Mike and follows this girl, whose name is Natasha, and tells her that I am a friend of Mike. Natasha tells her that he did not appear, nor did he, nor any of the people who were on the flight 3 weeks ago when they disappeared. But Irene shows her a video of Mike and him. The store, he buys food and drink with a dark card, Lori. They ride together in Natasha's car, and they go out to look for him and find out exactly where he is right now. Lori is trying to collect wood, papers, and broken airplane seats so that she can light them on fire, creating so much smoke that it will draw attention to him in case the rescue teams are looking for them. Currently, here she finds her sister Irene's phone in the pilot's cabin. Mike and Peter go to Lori. He sends a video clip of Erin, and we see that she was with the pilot Mike the night before the plane crash at the hotel, and Peter tells her that your news is from the newspapers and the media, and it seems that there is something big and a very dangerous secret that you're hiding. Fyrne doesn't speak at all, and she stops calling, and Lori comes back and yells at Mike, telling him, "Why is the phone to hate your locker on the plane?" He still doesn't want to talk, but in the end, he's forced to confess and tell her, "I met Irene at the hotel by chance the night before the flight, and we talked and got to know each other a little while. She forgot her mobile phone in the hotel casino, and when I saw it, I knew from her that you were traveling on my flight, so I took it and was intending to deliver it to her, but of course she did not come and did not ride with me." And he continues talking and says, "I knew from her that you were fighting with each other for a little bit, and it is possible because Thus, she did not want to travel and was late for the trip. At this time, Irene confesses to Natasha that she met Mike the night before the accident, and she also learned from him that he has a small house in the north, directly on the river, and is certain that he may be there now. She calls directly in Arabic for this address, and Lori will be there. She is very sad and says to the doctor, who is with them, I sent Erin many messages to reconcile her and have her come with me on the trip. But she did not have her phone with her, and she certainly now thinks that I am dead and that I am fighting with her, and fighting with each other. After that, Lori goes with Amber's little son to take a bath in the lake, but by chance she sees me mopping there. She sees them and is also swallowed by the presence of crocodiles on the island. Then they decide that they must throw all the bodies and people who died into the water of the ocean, and they actually say goodbye and throw them into the water. At this time, Irene and Natasha reach the place and go inside. Irene finds a bag full of money and a picture of Mike and his real girlfriend, and she learns that Natasha is not staying his friend. Mike and Natasha know that Irene saw the picture and the money and immediately point her weapon at her. But suddenly Mike appears and he hits Natasha and serenades her, and he and Irene quickly escape from here with the money. At this time, Lori is talking to the doctor and telling him that the host girl, Callie, said she regretted it before she died, because she was not supposed to get involved in all these matters, but she died without explaining what she meant by these words, and suddenly Lori sees a boat from afar and shouts at them, and they all remain extremely happy and happy. At this time, Natasha is excelling and getting upset, but Mike remains, so he takes Irene after him on the motorcycle and runs away from her. Natasha shoots at them, but she does not know how to hit them, and Ping is already trying to escape from her. On the island, they go to a high place to light a fire and create a lot of smoke, because the staff at the mall know that someone is calling for help here, but Lori cannot find her lighter in her bag and tells them that I was. He put it in the bag with his hands, and you know that someone took it from the bag and wanted to let us stay here. And then they all looked at each other, suspicious of each other, and Erin and Mike were talking to each other, and Mike was telling her to walk away and leave him alone because if she stayed with him, she would be in danger. And when she asked him why Natasha wanted to get rid of us, he told her, sure, this money. And at this time, Natasha's calling Irene's phone, and her friend Mike is talking to him and asking him to come back quickly and save her because there is a woman with a gun and she is threatening, and she also wants him as soon as possible. And of course, my friend, she means. And when they return to the island the next day, they will find a box like this. The waves are washing over these rocks, and they will not be there. Do they know how they will get him down from this high place and the strong flow of water in the place? And they are all here except Dr. Jack. And we see him taking off his clothes alone on the beach and pouring water, and he decides to throw away his life and commit suicide. And this is, of course, after he completely lost hope of getting out of here. And Lori arrives and sees his clothes on the floor. Halfway through, her water breaks, and she continues to cry and call him, but without saying anything. That's it. And Mike and Irene arrive home, and when Mike enters the house, he finds that Natasha is the one who needs his girlfriend, and Natasha tells him, we don't want anything from you except where exactly is this island, so I agree with Mike. He takes and leaves the house, and of course Irene continues to watch everything that is happening. We go back to Lori, and she is extremely sad and angry because of Dr. Jack's suicide, so she loves him alone and jumps on the high shelf of water to reach the box in which there might be food or drink. She actually reaches the box and prefers to float in it. But she is not able to. The very strong water pilot rises, and when she is finished, she will drown. He repents and transports her at the right time, and he is also able to drag her to the beach. They reconcile the box, and the night is full of hair dryers and no food or drink as they were hoping. Mike and Natasha arrive at the port of the boats and the land planes, and Irene is being watched, walking behind them from afar. For a long time, Irene knows the plane that they are taking to the island, so she loves rides and uses Natasha and Mike. They board the plane and they throw it toward the island, and on the island, Val persuades them to use the wires of the hair dryers as love, and they make a wooden boat with it from tree trunks, and they actually go down to the water, and Laurie stands on top of it to test it, and here the idea succeeds. They all remain very happy, and after that they agree that they missed him. He is the one who will search for them in swimming and fishing. When Heast arrives, invite the rescue forces to the island, and here everyone agrees, but at night Mike gets angry with them and bits it. He takes the boat and wants to run away with it. Here, Laurie sees him and calls for him and is also hit with a weapon arrow. Fatwa is hunting and she can also hit him. The arrow also pierces his body, but he remains determined to escape. Film takes us back to the present time, and Mike and Natasha arrive at the island. Of course, Irene stays hidden with them on the plane, and Mike sees her, but he remains silent and never speaks. They go down to the island, and Irene goes after them, and she finds Irene at the door. So she entered it and found herself as she was on this road with a large camp around it. She entered this place and found many packages of food in it. Also found a bag containing a weapon, a wireless device, and a complete map of the island. She started taking them and went out and continued walking like this, following the map until she could see from afar that he was splashing on the beach and he was next to it, one of the fast boats, and suddenly someone hides himself behind her and pulls out. He is with you, and Fob is teaching Laurie to fish. It seems that they have remained very close to each other. But Daniel and Amber also love each other, and there is no one else. They are the four of them now, and Amber's son, who is present with them. This is little Sonny. After Mike ran away on the boat, and they all think that Mike must have drowned and died in the ocean, and they must learn to live here and on the island. And at night they have a party and spend time together. Amber confesses to Laurie that she is the one who stole her gold coin and returns it to her, and Amber gets very angry and yells at her. She fights with her because she wasted their chance to escape from them. As for Natasha, she looks for Mike and he and Irene are hiding from her. Natasha gets upset and tells him, I know that you heard me, and I don't want you to do anything except that I know where Daniel is, and if you hand him over to me, he will be there for you. You return safely and leave here, and this time, Mike remembers the past and brings us back to a flashback movie when Mike was in the hotel and he was peeing with Danielle, and they have a friendship and a long relationship, and Daniel asks Mike that he wants to help him. It is very necessary, and in return, his goal is a sum of money, not an imagination, so he does not say to him, I hear you talking. What you want is that we will go back to Mike and Erin on the island, and they will be hiding from Natasha, and Mike will say to her, I am distracted by Natasha's attention, and you will go and take the boat quickly before she finishes with both of us. He actually does that, and Natasha sees him, runs after him, and starts kicking him out, but Irene stays in love with him and breaks up the boat. Here, Mike shoots a distress flare in the air, and Irene sees her, and Fat Top and Lori also see her in the sky. And after that, Daniel's voice is heard screaming, so Beirut tells them that Amber committed suicide and threw herself in the ocean. And Bella also finds her crutch on the beach, and Daniel tells them, I tried to save her, but I can't swim as well. You know that. Fatwa quickly goes to the water in the hope that he will save Amber, and at that time Mike appears and runs towards Irene, but Natasha then runs after him and hits him with fire and then shoots him, but he is able to reach the boat again, and along with Irene, she runs with them, so she pulls out the gun and shouts at Irene because don't let her die here alone. Irene hears her and stops the boat and thinks about returning to her, but Mike warns her that she is doing this and tells her to move immediately, and I will take you to the real island that we fell. Erin shouts loudly at Natasha and tells her also about the place where there is food and drink, and after that she continues walking and moves. On the boat, she tells everyone that Mike also tells her the truth, and Mike tells her that Natasha works for Camilla, Daniel's wife, but Camilla remains the owner of the airline and the CEO of the company, and the movie flashbacks back to when Daniel asked Mike to kill his lover because she would threaten to expose their relationship to his wife, Camilla. We know that all the money, wealth, and businesses that Daniel manages basically belong to Camilla and her father, and if they knew that he was in a relationship with another woman, he would be left unemployed and completely broke, and not far away he would finish it, but Mike would offer him a second offer and tell him, you and I will take the plane with you, and I know that, and in my experience, it will happen. The plane and I make an emergency landing for you, uncle, in a place that no one knows, and at that time it is in the middle of the street, and the accident that will happen is that you can get rid of it without anyone taking care, and no one has seen or known, and from it, you will get rid of it forever, and from it, I will earn 2 nice pennies, and we will return to the present time. And Mike says he doesn't see that his lover, Daniel, is the one he wanted to get rid of, and that his wife also sent Natasha in order to erase any trace of what happened and also get rid of everyone on the island. As for Lori, she confronts Daniel with pictures of him with Amber that she found in her bag and tells him that you and her know each other. Also had an emotional relationship with each other before the accident, and she tells him that the little son, Sonny, who is Amber's son, remains your son as well. He tells her that I love her very much, but I am married and I cannot reveal our relationship to each other. But Lori is very sad because she wronged Amber and fought with her, and it seems that Amber stole the lighter so that she can spend the longest time with Daniel and come back and mend the relationship between them, and after that they light a fire because the one who hit the distress torch in the air a while ago takes his mind off their place. But Lori sees scratches and wounds on Daniel's neck and knows that Amber did not commit suicide, but he killed her and drowned her in the ocean, and Amber is definitely her, the one who made these scratches and wounds on his neck with her fingernails while she was straightening him up, but she is afraid to speak because he will surely finish her off and leave her, and she tells him, I am going to the beach and you keep lighting the fire. She comes back and records her phone. I knew her because if they die here and someone finds the phone after that, but the phone disconnects from her and she keeps crying. At this time, Mike tells Irene to take the right direction in the boat to reach the island by following the stars in the sky, and after that he dies, but Daniel remains, showing the scratch wounds on his neck, and Beta Core saw them and definitely knew that he was the one who killed Amber, so he berated her with the dagger he had and that he wanted to kill her and be done. on her, he buries his secret and his crime with her. As for Phantoma, he has not appeared since last night, and it seems that he drowned and died. After that, Irene arrives at the island and descends on it, and Daniel sees her and watches from afar. She walks for a while on the island like this and sees the crash plane, and Daniel runs quickly to take the boat and move on it, but the keys are with him. Irene believes it when he finds Mike's body on the boat. Here, Irene uses the wire she has and calls Detective Toaki, who is holding the case, and tells her that she has arrived at the wreckage of Flight 281. She also knows that there is a young child here still alive, so Toaki tells her to leave the walkie-talkie on so he can track her and Daniel's location. He comes back and is looking for Irene to kill her as well and take the keys to the boat from her. Suddenly, Lori appears and pulls her sister Irene out and also puts her hands on her horn so that Daniel doesn't finish with her. After a while, Daniel sees Lori, but he doesn't see Irene with her because Irene fell to the ground and hid from him and Lori. She tells Irene in a low voice to go and prepare the boat so that she won't hurt the child, Sonny, who will die on the island. Then runs quickly, and Daniel runs after her and into his house. When she reaches Sonny's place, Daniel arrives ahead of her, carrying her in his hands, and he tells Lori that there was someone who arrived on the island in a boat a while ago, and here Lori is doing herself. She doesn't know something about her, and Daniel puts Sonny in his bed, and Lori tells him that Amber is the reason because she was threatening to expose their secret and their relationship to his wife, and he had no solution other than to get rid of her. And he did not know and he did not agree with her that she was bringing Sonny's young mother's son with them on this cursed trip, and Lori is trying to be nice to him and tell him that you were right in everything you did, and Amber is the one who turned the love between you into threats and cheap blackmail for you, and she is also the one who put you in this predicament, and frankly, if I were you, I would do that to her and more. And then they go together to the boat and pee with Irene. Lori is doing something that you don't know at all, and Irene is also doing the same thing, and Irene is lying to him and telling him, I work with your wife, Mrs. Camilla, and she knew everything, but she still loves you and forgives you and wants you to return to her in peace, nothing more. As for the child, she says that he will be placed in an orphanage and will be released. He will also live well, but you must not leave anything to prove that you are in a relationship with Amber and Daniel. He tells her that there are some pictures of me with her, and I will burn them and get back to you quickly. As soon as he walks along, Irene and Lori take the child and they get into the boat and they meet her, and after a while, Lori spots her. Fatwa is thrown on the beach and keeps calling for him, but Daniel sees them and sees Fataub, so he runs quickly towards him, and Lori jumps off the boat and wants to reach Fataub before him and pulls him to the water because she knows that Daniel cannot swim, but Daniel reaches him first and is still alive, and he also puts the dagger on his neck and says, Irene gets off the boat immediately and actually carries out his orders when Lori tells her to do so. This time, Taub is selling Daniel in his hand, and Lori is also hitting Daniel with Amber's crutch, and Daniel attacks her and falls into the water and wants to drown her. So he grabs Irene with a wooden spear and stabs it in his back, so he attacks Irene and Biz. He throws her into the water and Lori also hits him hard with a rock on his head and he falls into the water. After that, they hold each other and keep hitting him until she breaks his brain and he finally dies, and after a few moments, rescue planes and the police see him from afar, and a fob tells them that the police are going to kill me because I have a lot of criminal records and no one. He will believe that I did not kill anyone, so Pia takes the boat and Laurie goes with him, and the place is different to some extent. The police take Irene and Sunny, and the police in the investigation are not able to obtain any information from her, and she tells them that she arrived on the island through her own search, but she did not find anyone present except the child, Sunny, and in fact, the police believe all 14 passengers on the plane are dead, and Erin returns the bag of money to her friend Mike. He also returns the child, Sunny, to his grandfather and grandmother, Amber's father. After that, Peter, a friend of Laurie's, visits Erin and also presents her with a check that the insurance company paid to the victims. After that, Laurie is shown to us while she is pregnant on the island with Fantoma and Pico. We live together in the utmost happiness and joy, and thus the events of our movie today end. I hope you have a good time with us. Don't forget to, if you like the video, support us with a like and subscribe, and also activate the bell to receive all new updates.